Hey everyone, welcome back to Alan Walker Theories. Today we're going to be going over the Aviation movie. We did make a video on this previously, however, I wanted to make a new one based on all the new trailers that we saw, and I want to readdress and give some newer thoughts on everything. So essentially, before I begin, this trailer that I'm going to be reviewing first is from Alan's Believers live stream. So I know this is the Aviation movie, it says so in the title, but it will be broken up into 5 parts on these days. The thing I want to talk about is I still believe this to be a short film. I think it's mainly split into 5 parts just so it can be accessible to a non-super involved audience. My mind tells me each part's probably going to be like 10 to 15 minutes, so the total runtime is around 60 minutes. I'm not entirely sure, but these little bite-sized pieces will allow someone who's not super duper obsessive with the whole plot and is just interested in Alan's music to just click in, spend 10 to 15 minutes like a normal YouTube video length, and just enjoy that snippet and then come back every couple of days for more. I think only really involved fans who either really like Alan's music or really like his plot of his music videos will sit down and watch a 50 to 60 minute short film on what? That's my next topic, is what is the Aviation movie actually about? In previous trailers, we'd really only seen the plot-based material and then just snippets of the Oslo Aviation Tour show. That's where this sort of centers around. So the basis for the Aviation movie plot is based on Alan's aviation tour that happened around a year and a half ago now. But there is other plot elements intertwined. So the same characters from his music videos, we stepping into the world of his live shows. I know the trailers seem very concert heavy, but there is other footage I don't understand how it could be anywhere else. So I will assume that this will sort of be half concert recording, half short film. I really don't know if the music from the concert is going to overlay over all of the characters doing things. I don't know if this is going to be edited and cut like one music video, or whether there's going to be sound and dialogue and whatnot. So I'm gonna get on just with briefly analyzing this trailer here. So this is Alita 88888. She's the main character from Fake a Smile, and she is probably the main character of this movie. So she's around the area of the original monument that was seen in Darkseid for the first time and has sort of become a staple and a symbol of the World of Warcraft universe ever since. So she's at this building next to it, and I think as she goes in, she puts on these AR glove things and she seems to enter this world, this alternate reality. And I think it is sort of marketed as the aviation game. Goes into the hut, she gets her gloves, she goes into this virtual world, and that's where the concert is. I think that's where all of this lives within. The whole AR thing might just be a plot device in order to tie in the concert with the World of Warcraft universe and try to get the two things to sort of flow evenly, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. So think about this sort of as like a Matrix world, where it's a simulated reality in which this concert exists. Don't quote me on this, don't get mad if I'm wrong. This is just what it appears to be to me. Another interesting thing is within this concert, we know that 28300, or Lily, who is the previous main character of all of Alan's music videos, shows up. So I'm thinking, even though their timelines, very confusing, they're at least 40 to 50 years apart, but their timelines are way far apart. They would never live within the same time period at the ages that they are. So I think this is their way to meet and sort of pass off the mantle from one character to another, if not have some sort of interaction. So I am gonna go back and address things like the levels. The aviation tour itself had different levels, like level 1 and level 2. I don't know if there was an intro and a conclusion level. As you go through the different levels of the aviation movie, you might go through the different levels in the concert. So it might be the first section of the movie contains the first section of the concert and it goes chronologically through it. That's possible. I'm assuming the conclusion will wrap up with Faded, as is that's always the song Alan ends his concerts with, and then it's sort of implied that way in this as well. So this is another very interesting topic, the celebrity appearances. I don't really know what to make of this. A lot of these are just people and performers that were at the Aviation Tour show. I don't really know if they're going to play an acting role in the whole movie. But interestingly enough, well, this is a horrible freeze frame of Steve, but he was not at the show, but he's in this sort of lab. I'll throw up pictures on screen. He was seen acting and controlling drones, which sort of makes me think maybe all these musicians aren't just being musicians, but they're also an actor. But the point is, I do think some of these people will solely be at the concert, and then maybe some of them will be acting outside of it. Maybe at the end there will be this huge scene where every actor comes out and raises a drone or something. I really don't know. I can't predict this, but some of these names might solely be in here as a musician credit. The Aviation tour itself was a music and gaming experience. Don't know if it was actually marketed that way, but you could use the Aviation game to scan these codes, and then you can get these like AR features in the app. I don't think that's a thing anymore. However, that was built into the app specifically for the tour, which makes me think something similar might come about for the time of the movie. There might be posters plastered around in like cities or something, or online codes that you have to find, and then you can unlock certain teasers that way, or certain levels in the Aviation game will unlock with certain levels of the movie. I'm not entirely sure. But just because of the creation of Walker Gaming so recently, it makes me think they're going to play a large role in the marketing of the movie, simply because if they're going to tease the Aviation movie in like a Walker's Gaming stream, it really implies that they're very much intertwined and they're going to bounce each other's marketing techniques off of one another. So I really want to get into the rest of the plot and sort of talk about, okay, what else is going to happen in the Aviation movie? You have the basics, what are the details? I've already gone over my like false reality digital world theory, but what else is going to be in the movie? We know Red Nexus is Alan's enemy, video up here if you don't know who they are, and I assume they're going to be appearing in this even though they haven't really been heavily teased. I'm just going to be referencing this video. This was for the fated 3 billion mark. The team sort of sent it out to a bunch of different walkers saying they wouldn't release it on their own, but fans could release it if they like. And I think the really interesting part about this is there are bits and pieces of unseen footage that I really can't imagine happening within the context of a music video. So I think a lot of this probably will play into the Aviation movie. So I will go over that. So let's look at, okay, this is a horrible still. I'll put a better one up on screen, but this is a hand passing another hand, a picture from Faded. So I'm assuming we are going to get a bit more character development on the character of 22. So he's the guy from Faded. We learned about him in the World of Walker 2021 trailer, which also had more footage that I think is from the Aviation movie, solely because it wasn't in Fake a Smile. The rest of the clips seem too sporadic to be pieced together into one video. So think in the context of a movie, there would be enough to provide for all these storylines to be happening at once. So I'm assuming the hand, this hand here, and this hand here, one of them is supposed to be 22 or someone who is helping him. For context on this issue, we see this later, but he is trying to find what is supposedly Alan's old house to rebuild the World of Walker City in. So that's what he does during all of Faded. Faded was not originally made with this intent, but they've repurposed its plot line now that they have a further storyline developed. So he's running away from Red Nexus and trying to find Alan's old house. So I'm assuming this is a picture of the house for reference that someone gives to someone else who is captured, presumably captured by Red Nexus. Yeah, just 22 being chased by Red Nexus. There's not really much else to say here. Okay, so this is Lily 28300. I'm assuming she was one of the figures who was either inside or outside of that gate that we saw because her sweatshirt is gray. It's difficult to see in this frame, but it makes sense. It sort of looks like she's captured by Red Nexus and they're passing over and they're scanning for 22. So I'm assuming 22 and 28300. So Jordan and Lily, just to give them names that are easier to pronounce. I'm assuming they're working together and they live in the same timeline. Okay, just a prophecy disc. I want to go back to this clip. It's very hard to see, but this is what I think is this car from Space Melody in the back. And then you have two walkers. Sort of reminds me of like Tired era clothing and vibes, which I think is super cool. You have the crates, you have the prophecy discs. So this scene is just the one that we saw in the World of Walker 2021 trailer. Again, I assume this is Alan sort of coming up to Jordan or 22 to help him find his own house. I don't know why I never saw this plot hole before. This makes no sense. He's running from Red Nexus. And I get that this is a repurposed clip and whatnot. Fade wasn't meant to be having an urgent tone. But imagine someone's like, oh my god, I need to find this dude's house. And then Alan's like, hey bro, that is my house. This is a whole scene. I'm assuming this will happen. It's kind of awkward because the whole thing is CGI'd in. Okay, this is Red Nexus breaking into someone's home. So I'm assuming this also has to do with the whole capture of the walkers and everything. But I think an interesting thing to note is the two gray hoodies. These could represent the walkers from Tired. I think they're different than the two walkers we saw earlier because those were in black. I mean, they could change their hoodie color. I really wouldn't know. a very interesting thing is they could be switching around the plot so that Jordan and Lily were actually the two walkers, or other characters that we know were the characters that were actually in Tired. I wouldn't know, but because they're including the Tired scene back into the world of Walker that we know with characters that we know, it could be possible that they're just going to ignore the actor change and make the character the same. But yeah, just know Red Nexus is rounding up the Walkers because the Walkers are fighting against Red Nexus. Okay, and then this is the huge scene of the projection on Alan's old home, so this building. So the building from Faded, it's very interesting that I have no idea where this is coming from. I would assume it's either glow-in-the-dark graffiti or projected on by a drone. I really can't tell. There really isn't very many new things. Most of it's just images that are reused from other prophecy discs, and that's pretty much it. I'll put up images on screen of all the prophecy disc pieces and all the music video scenes that they correlate to, but I also want to make a note that Alan's music is the most marketable part of this entire thing. So they're going to probably push that more so than just the other plot elements that are a secondary element to the entire movie. A lot of artists have released actual things labeled as movies that are really just like their concert recording, and that's not uncommon, and I don't think it would be unheard of for Alan to even make this solely based on one show. I mean, it's a little bit late to release that. However, I just want to let everyone know that that is first and foremost why this movie is probably being made. The plot is secondary, so I just want to sort of end the movie with that so no one has like false or wrong expectations regardless of what happens. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Once all the Aviation Movie like teasers and trailers start coming out, we'll be doing videos and posts on our Instagram and probably on our Reels as well. So if you're interested, all our social media links are in the description. We keep up with things way more often there. I will see you guys hopefully sometime soon. Bye! I can't say this. I can't do this. I cannot talk.